The Chicago Bulls lose to the Memphis Grizzlies 125 to 124. We're going to be talking about the key takeaways from tonight's loss. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to slam dunk on that subscribe button, just like Modest Buzelis slam dunks in games. And so in exchange for slamming on that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Chicago Bulls. And so make sure that you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Chicago Bulls Insider family as we talk nothing but Chicago Bulls basketball. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it as we're talking about the key takeaways from tonight's loss against the Memphis Grizzlies. And so I always like to start with the points that describe this game. And so, look, I think that this was very much a sloppy basketball game, for both teams. I think that with the turnovers, especially for the Chicago Bulls, when you look at the amount of turnovers that they had in this game. And then number two, for the Chicago Bulls, I think that they had some more opportunities in which they could have really attacked the teeth of the Grizzlies defense a little bit more. So I think been a bit more aggressive in the paint out there. Would have liked to see that from the Chicago Bulls. But lastly, the Bulls had a chance to win this game. And so the Grizzlies were inbounding the basketball. The Bulls would get a steal. Tre Jones would run it down the court. And instead of taking the layup, he went ahead and he dumped it down to Colin Sexton. Now, he did make the layup, but it was after the buzzer went off. And so perhaps if Tre Jones would have just stolen the basketball and went for the layup, he either would have made it, maybe they would have blocked the shot, or he could have missed it, one of those. But I think that really there was no time for Tre Jones to just pass it off. I think he had to take the shot. And so I think that that is the one error for Tre Jones in this game, which we're going to talk about that in a moment. But otherwise, I think that that pretty much describes this game. Just a sloppy basketball game. The Bulls had a chance to win it, and you just wish they could have been a bit more aggressive as far as getting to the paint in this one. And so now wanted to go ahead and take a look at the box score. We're going to take a look at the players, then we're going to take a look at the teams and just look at the box scores and what they had to say here. And so starting with the starters for the Chicago Bulls and Josh Giddey. And so Josh Giddey gets to a triple-double. Now, I think that this was a tough triple-double for him. It wasn't smooth at all, and I wasn't sure he was going to get to it because he certainly looked a little frustrated out there, but Josh Giddey did come through. This was his 31st triple-double of his career, and so 18 points, a negative 15 in the plus-minus box score, 10 assists, 13 rebounds, 5 of 5 from the free throw line, 1 of 3 from deep, and 6 of 11 from the field in 35 minutes. Next up, Tre Jones. And so Tre Jones, we talked about the error that he had there at the end of the game, but besides that, Tre Jones, I think, was once again spectacular for the Chicago Bulls. I thought that he did a great job as far as using really his size to his advantage as far as just getting defenders off balance and just going up for layups and things like that. He was part of a couple nice just out of timeout plays, with the inbounds and stuff like that, where he was able to score as well. And once again, I think that he was all over the floor defensively, as it showed in the last sequence. And so that continues to be the story for Tre Jones this season. And so 19 points, a +3 in the plus-minus box score. He did have 2 steals in this game. He had 6 assists. He had 9 rebounds. He was 1 of 4 from deep and 8 of 15 from the field in 29 minutes. Again, Tre Jones, man, just making winning plays for the Chicago Bulls. And again, I think that, the Bulls would be wise to at least listen to talks about possible trades for Tre Jones and Jalen Smith, but we'll see how that goes this offseason. And so next, I want to go ahead and talk about Leonard Miller. And so Leonard Miller, this was a tough basketball game for him. He did go up for, I think it was a layup, and then a couple defenders kind of fell on him there, so he kind of took a hard hit to the back of his neck there, but he was able to finish out the game. He was able to go ahead and shoot his free throws, but you see that he was not that aggressive as far as the shots from the field, and so only 1 of 2, only 16 minutes for him too, which I think was a bit of a surprise, but 5 points, the -1 in the plus-minus box score, the 4 rebounds as well. He did have 1 steal, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 1 of 2 from the field in 16 minutes. And so for Leonard Miller, again, it wasn't a great game, but I would have liked to see some more opportunities. This was a bit of a tough situation for the Bulls because they didn't have Nick Richards. They didn't have Garshawn Yabusele. We already knew that they didn't have Jalen Smith. They have also, too, Jay Ivey. And so a lot of players are out, and that means that, with the size gone here, Leonard Miller had to slide into the lineup. And so maybe that was the situation there with him having to play a little bit more in the interior and play a little bit more of the five here. Maybe that kind of threw him off, but just Leonard Miller had a tough one today. And so next up, Modest Buzelis. And so Modest Buzelis, to me, this was a game that you just love it from a growth standpoint. And so I think once again we see that with Modest Buzelis. And I just like the way that he attacked really in the second half. I think that was like really big, just seeing Modest Buzelis attack. And I just love what was talked about during the telecast there when Stacey King was talking about, look, he already plays with an edge. And it seemed like that the Grizzlies maybe were doing a little bit of chirping there, and it turned Modest Buzelis up. And I thought that he was there in the second half. And what I like too, just not on the offense, but defensively, I think that he's taken another step forward as far as being a rim protector, because he had some great block shots in this game. And I say blocks because he had multiple ones. And so, again, he continues to grow there. The on-ball defense, I think, is something that will have to take a step forward. And it is. There are signs of growth there, but I think that, man, he's going to get even better. And I just think that he's going to be tough as he continues to grow here. But just loving what he did in the second half in this one. And so just going back to exactly what Modest put up. And so 29 points, a plus 14 in this one. He did have the 4 turnovers. He had the 3 blocks. He had 3 assists. He had 10 rebounds. He was 6 of 7 from the free throw line, 3 of 10 from deep, 10 of 21 from the field in 39 minutes. And so 2 things to circle there: 21 shot attempts. You love that. 10 rebounds. You love that. I talked about that earlier, that I think he's a player that should be getting to the double figures, or the double-double with the rebounds. And so he should be getting a double-double with the fact that he has the athleticism and just the size to get to these boards. And so he got there. And so next up, Issac Okoro. And so, look, Issac Okoro didn't have the type of game that he had against OKC, but I still saw some good things here from Issac Okoro. He draws another charge on defense. I've talked about how that is really energize the entire team, because the entire team collectively has taken more charges. And I think it is just because Issac Okoro has kind of just put that mentality out there. And so you love that with what he did there defensively. And even though the points weren't there, still, I think he becomes a steady player here for the Chicago Bulls, and he has been really steady throughout the season. I'll say it again, I think that the Bulls really won that trade with the Cleveland Cavaliers and what they got with Issac Okoro, and I think he's going to get even better here next season. But 7 points, a -6 in the plus-minus box score. He did have 3 blocks, talking about that defense there. 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 0 of 3 from deep, and 3 of 7 from the field in 30 minutes. So he had some good looks, just didn't go down. And so with Patrick Williams, look, he was a little bit more aggressive in this game, but still only 4 points, a +5 in the plus-minus box score. He had 3 rebounds. He was 0 of 3 from deep and 2 of 5 from the field in 23 minutes. That right there is one of the things to circle in this game, the fact that he got some more minutes than Leonard Miller, and then also than Rob Dillingham. And so next up, Lachlian Olbrich. And so Lachlian Olbrich, to me, I thought played a very good game. And honestly, Lachlian Olbrich probably could have been in double figures here. Not probably, should have been. And so I think that the key for him is he's got to get better as a free throw shooter. And so this is something that also, too, I think that he's got to get better with when he's playing with the Windy City Bulls. And so he's getting the opportunities. He's drawing the contact. It's just about finishing there. And so the 8 points, he had the 7 rebounds in this one, a -4 in the plus-minus box score. He did have 2 assists as well, 4 of 8 from the free throw line, 2 of 2 from the field in 22 minutes. And also to add to Lachlian Olbrich, what I like too about him is he sets very good screens. He's always active. He's always on the move. He's always following up the basketball, trying to get to these boards and things like that. So again, it's a high effort level for Lachlian Olbrich, and I want to see some more of that. And again, I think that if he just settles down, knocks down his freebies there, and takes his time, I think that Lachlian Olbrich certainly could have been in double figures here in this game. And then also, too, I think moving forward, if they continue to play him the minutes. And so next up, Colin Sexton. And so with Colin Sexton, look, he continues to just be a bucket. I continue to say that it is instant offense with Colin Sexton. Not mad at that at all. He comes in and he gives you that. And so 26 points in this game, a +4 in the plus-minus box score. He had the 2 steals, 2 assists, and you see that he was 11 of 13 from the free throw line and 3 of 6 from deep, 6 of 14 from the field in 30 minutes. And so what I liked about Colin Sexton is just really he attacked the space pace of the defense. I think that he was the one that was really in attack mode as far as trying to get to the teeth of the Grizzlies defense and drawing contact and everything else. But I think that there were so many more opportunities across the board for the Chicago Bulls in which they could have did that. But Colin Sexton certainly took advantage of that. And so next, looking at Rob Dillingham. And so I just talked about it with Patrick Williams playing more than Leonard Miller and Rob Dillingham. Now, Rob Dillingham did struggle a little bit in this game. He did knock down some threes. I think that the biggest thing with Rob Dillingham is that he struggled defensively. I think he certainly struggled with the size there of the Memphis Grizzlies on defense. And so they were attacking him a bit there and chirping at him. But I did like the fact that he was able to come back, knock down some three-point shots. I think that the confidence is showing there. And look, he was close to the double figures. You want to see him get some more assists and everything else, but this was still a tough game for him. So 8 points, a -5 in the plus-minus box score. He did have the 2 assists. He had 2 rebounds. He was 2 of 3 from deep and 3 of 5 from the field in just 15 minutes. And so now I wanted to go ahead and take a look here at the team box score as we take a look at what the Bulls and the Grizzlies did. And so the Bulls here in this game, you see that they shot 50% from the field. You see that the Grizzlies were 47% from the field. And then you see that both teams really struggled from outside. So 30% for the Bulls, just 32% there for the Memphis Grizzlies. And then the free throws here. And so the Bulls left a lot of money there at the line. And you see that they had the advantage. They got there 43 times. They only made 32 of those. So 32 of 43 for 74%. So that could have been a difference maker there. And then 13 of 17 for the Grizz there for 76%. And then when you look at the rebounds, so 53 to 37. Bulls did a great job as far as hitting the boards. The assists go to the Grizzlies 31 to 26 there. And then the steals 17 to 8 for the Grizzlies, taking full advantage of the turnovers and the sloppy play of the Bulls. So 23 turnovers for the Bulls. They gave up 27 points off of those turnovers. 14 for the Grizzlies, 13 points off of those. And then when you look at the points in the paint, so 70 to 60. And so it balances out, but still, I think that the Bulls really left a lot of money there as far as points in the paint. And so the Grizzlies lead their 70 to 60 there. And then as far as just the biggest leads in this game, for both teams, you see that the Grizzlies had an 11-point lead. You see that the Bulls had a 5-point lead here. But again, this is very much a game in which the Bulls could have won. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking as far as your key takeaways from this game. Again, I thought that we saw some growth here from Buzelis and the way that he was really able to take over in the second half. He gets to the double-double, which I think is something that he can start to do more of, which is getting more boards. And we see the growth there, again, defensively with the rim protection. And so some things really taking a step forward here for Buzelis in year number 2. Then with Tre Jones, look, he continues to be great for the Chicago Bulls. He's been great since he's been over here and been traded to the Bulls. And you just see just what he can bring to your basketball team, not just on the offensive end, but the defensive end there. And so I know he made that mistake at the end, but still, he has made a lot more just game-winning plays than he's made the plays that would go against you here. So just a little bit of a mistake there for Tre Jones at the end. And then next, with some of these younger players, look, with Leonard Miller and Rob Dillingham, you've got to see these players play some more. I'm glad that we got a chance to see Lachlian Olbrich play. And so that is what you want to see, especially with the Bulls being out of these play-in situations right now in the playoffs. It is all about these younger pieces. You need to find the rotations. You need to find out what these guys can and cannot do. And so let's see what happens with the Chicago Bulls and if these younger players are going to get some more run down the stretch here. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. And as we always say, go Bulls. And I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.